Hey everyone, today I just wanted to give a quick update on my faith journey and how I am staying strong through just the seemingly endless wait for God to show himself in my life. For a lot of us, we're waiting on the promises of God. We know he's promised us something, but it hasn't happened yet, right? And we're struggling. We're trying to get through. We need the joy and the strength of the Lord, yet the joy and strength of the Lord is not present in our lives. Literally 2 days ago was the first time I had felt God's peace in over a year. Like, I remember last year sitting down and feeling peace, this deep peace overwhelmed me, and literally over a year later is when I next felt it. And it was so strange. I was like, why now? Like, what's going on? So I'm someone who has been blocked from the presence, the tangible presence of the Lord for over a year. So when I seek Jesus, I seek to be obedient, I seek answers, I seek wisdom, but I just haven't felt his presence in a very, very long time. And I think a lot of people go through that. They're like, why haven't I felt your peace in a while, Lord? Or why haven't I felt your presence in such a long time? And it breaks people's heart when God hides himself. Why does God hide himself from us? Like, why does he purposefully distance himself? Why does he take away his tangible presence when we're aching to feel it, when we need revival and relief in this desert season? And I know that the only reason I think I felt that peace the other day was because I was finally just in my spirit, like, God, I trust you. Go at your own time, your own schedule. I will follow you and I will stop worrying. When our minds are steadfast, we are given his perfect peace, right? He keeps in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast. And so that's kind of what I think I was going through the other day. And it took such a long time for me just to be like, you know what, God, you do you. And it's such a hard thing to do, especially when you've been patient, when you've waited a long time, when you can't see the reason why the blessings are still locked behind closed doors. Like, you just, it's heartbreaking, and you want to keep seeking Jesus and you want to keep asking him, why do you keep making me wait? And I just came in alignment with God. Like, I was like, okay, God, I trust you. I know you're going to get me out of this desert season one way or another. Might as well just be at peace about it. But why would God intentionally hide his presence from us? I'm someone who hears the voice of the Lord very clearly, but I have felt like God is hiding himself from me. Like, I've called for refreshment and revival in this desert season, and he hasn't come to me. He hasn't proven to me he's there, even though I know he is. And that's been hard, but I learned, after someone who's been going through this over and over again for over a year now, that every time I feel dry, every time I'm thirsty, every time I call out to God, God, just give me a drink of water, just revive my spirit, I have learned to seek him even closer, and I am revived when I have chosen to seek him more. And so I think what happens is God intentionally pulls away from us. He intentionally hides himself from us. He intentionally does not answer prayers for a specific period of time. And that causes us to just ache for him. And when he is not coming to meet us in the middle, and he wants us to meet at that middle point, we have to put in that effort, right? We have to say, okay, God, I'll seek you. I'll keep seeking you until I know what the next step is, or until I feel that revival. And it causes us to put in effort, right? It causes us to put in work. And I think something about relationship that Christians don't like talking about a lot, because, we're saved by grace through faith, right? And so no one wants to talk about how our relationship with Jesus, we actually have to deliver our end of it as well, right? So you can't just by faith have a relationship with Jesus. No relationship exists on faith alone. It exists on effort and love. And so if we're not putting in enough effort to meet God in the middle, if we're not loving him enough, when we actually seek to meet him in the middle, our capacity for love is growing for him. And so God wants us to meet him in the middle when he pulls away so we can love him more. This is only something that can happen within a relationship with God. This can't happen in a relationship with people because people relationships don't work that way. God already loves us infinitely and perfectly, that even if he pulls away, we're still trying to catch up to that love. We're still trying to put in our piece. We'll never ever catch up to the love God has for us because his love is perfect, is infinite, is completely unconditional. We don't even know ourselves closely enough to love ourselves unconditionally. Only God can truly love unconditionally. And so if we're trying to meet him in the middle, this is where it's like all of this is God's love, and then this is our love for God, this little tiny piece, and he just wants us to meet him at the next step. Like I said, this doesn't work for human relationships because when we meet someone, like if it's a romantic husband and wife type situation, they don't have unconditional love for each other. They don't know each other completely. They might choose to love what they do know about that person unconditionally, but they're not trying to catch up. They're not trying to they're going back and forth, right? Their love is growing simultaneously for each other because they've chosen to love one another. Love is a choice. So when God calls us into a deeper relationship with him by pulling away from us, we have to make that active choice to seek him, to love him back. It doesn't work without making an active choice. That goes with every relationship we make in this world. Love is always a choice. Sometimes I think people seek the feeling of love, or like I said, like the presence of God, the presence of love. They seek that tangible feeling, that emotional part of it. And they think that that's love, that those emotions that they're feeling are the ultimate expression of love. But if you don't choose to love someone before those emotions start taking place, then the second those emotions go away, your love fades away. It was never authentic love. It was never true, full love. And when we seek God, and I think that's why this works so well, is that we have to make the choice when he pulls away to love him, because it's not easy to love someone who has pulled themselves and hidden themselves away from you. It is hard, and it makes you have to make a choice. And it teaches you how to love others. We love because God first loved us, but we also learn how to love one another and love ourselves by establishing a relationship with Jesus and by continuously seeking him. Because we are making the choice and the effort to give that love, we learn how to give love in a relationship or in a friendship. It is sacrificial. We have to choose something that is uncomfortable for us in the moment in order to pursue the relationship further. And this is just something that I have learned over the course of the past few weeks. When God pulls away, we have to make a choice to love him more. I think this is why a lot of relationships nowadays, marriages nowadays, end in divorce. And I'm no expert, but I think people get married on the attraction they feel for someone else, the emotional love they feel for someone else, but they have never actually decided, hey, I'm going to sacrifice something in my life or sacrifice a part of me to love this person. When they pull away or do something I don't like, I'm going to work hard to close that gap. That is not how people address their relationships anymore, when that is exactly how we're supposed to love one another. We love one another by sacrificing, by saying, you know what, you've pulled away from me, but I made this choice to marry you, so I'm gonna close the gap here. I'm going to sacrifice what I think is right, my own opinions, and I'm going to do the right thing here. So when we learn to love God this way, we learn to love others this way too. And it just all makes sense. So I hope what I am talking about today, what I've learned recently in the Spirit, helps you. I hope it brings you closer to Jesus because, the Bible talks about it when the thorns come and choke us up, the worries of life, the stressors of life, they choke up the good seeds trying to grow. People give up their faith because of this. People give up their faith when they haven't felt God in a while. People give up their faith when they're not fulfilled and when God is calling them into a deeper relationship with Him. People don't like that. People don't like having to put in any work in relationships. They just want to feel good and get the good vibes out of it, and they don't want to sacrifice anything. And God teaches us how to do this in a relationship with Him so we can further have good relationships with everyone else. I invite you to keep seeking Jesus in your relationship with Him. Do not let the worries choke you and ruin your faith. Do not let them make you give up. When God distances and hides Himself from you, do not count that as, hey, God doesn't want to have a relationship with me anymore, or this is too much work. Say, no, I'm going to meet God where He wants me to meet Him. I'm going to keep seeking Him. We do that by reading the Bible, being obedient, letting Him guide us in prayer and guide us in our lives, really just seeking to obey God. I think that's the strongest thing we can do when we're in those predicaments. So anyway, my point of the video today is if God has pulled away from you, seek Him further. Don't give up on your faith. Don't give up on your relationship with Jesus. And you can also use what you've learned in your relationship with Jesus to carry on in all your relationships and friendships and life as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next one.